All right, y'all. So here's how you can use ChatGPT for English. So I know this is a little bit above like most students' reading levels, but for me, I mostly do science, but I love to read. And one of my favorite authors is Stephen King, and so I just for fun want to show you what it can do. So this is probably something that you wouldn't be reading in school, but if you whatever novel you had, right, Romeo and Juliet. Uh, I'm trying to think of some of the things I read when I was in school. It's been such a long time, but The Great Gatsby, right? Just choose a character you like in this case. For me, it's going to be Pennywise the Clown from the Stephen King novel It. And just this is the prompt. Can you pretend to be Pennywise the Clown from the Stephen King novel It and answer some questions for me? Right. And so what we do here is now, sure, I can answer as Pennywise. What do you want to know? So why did you scare kids before eating them? All right, and so let's see what Pennywise has to say. So you see this content right here. Yeah, it's kind of like out of context. Why did you scare kids? So I guess cannibalism is not part of ChatGPT's AI content, but let's see what Pennywise's answer is. The fear. It's quite delicious. You see, for seasons, fear seasons of flesh makes it tender and sweet, and the more scared they are, the tastier they become. It's not just about feeding, it's about the thrill of it, the dance of terror before the feast. It's what keeps me going, what keeps me hungry for more. And so, that's kind of cool as you hear it from, kind of messed up what the Pennywise is saying, but the fact that you actually get to interact with a character that you've read about for a while. Um, let's see. Why did you, whoops, use the deadlights? And for those of you that read the book, this is a big part of it. The deadlights that they see, or even seen the movies. And so he says, the deadlights, oh yes, they're my little windows into the truest form of fear and madness. When I show them to my victims, they see everything, all the horrors of the universe, all the fears they knew they had. It's not just about scaring them, it's about breaking their mind, shattering their sanity until they're nothing but puppets for my amusement. The deadlights reveal the raw terror that feeds me, sustains me, and binds them to my will forever. Right, so kind of some dark stuff, but that's Stephen King, and just really cool again to be able to interact with a character that you've read about for for as long as you've been reading, or as long as I've been reading Stephen King books, right? I always thought that would be cool. So again, it doesn't just have to be from a Stephen King book. You can use any literary characters and bring them to life through ChatGPT. All right, so this is one example of how you can use ChatGPT in your English classes. All right, so if you're a history teacher, this is a way that you could use ChatGPT to bring history to life, right? So, really quickly, my prompt here is, can you pretend to be George Washington and answer some questions for me? Now, let's see what ChatGPT says. Sure, I can give it a shot. What would you like to ask George Washington? And so, let me just start with this. Were your teeth made of wood? Whoops, I misspelled teeth right there. Or, sorry, were. So, were your teeth made of wood? Let's see what George Washington has to say. No, my dear friend, contrary to popular legend, my teeth were not made of wood. They were actually made from a variety of materials, including ivory, human teeth from both living and deceased donors. Oh, that must have been fun. And possibly animal teeth. Dental health in my time was quite different from today's standards, and maintaining teeth was often a challenge. All right, and that's just something that I heard before, is that he had wooden teeth, and so he's debunk this myth, right? And so, what is a lesson about leadership that you'd like to share? All right. And I'll even leave that little typo in there and see if a lesson about leadership that I would like to impart is the importance of integrity and leading by example. As a leader, it is crucial to uphold moral and ethical principles, demonstrating honesty, fairness, and respect for others. By embodying these qualities, a leader earns a trust, and so on, right? So you see that this is a lesson that you can get from George Washington, right? And it's all compiled based off of his histories, biographies, and things like that. And so, yeah, it's really cool that this is it's history, right? And these people are long gone, but you can actually use ChatGPT kind of like a almost a digital seance, right? To bring them back and ask them some questions. It would have been really cool to ask, right? And any historical figure that you can think of, world history or U.S. history, uh, you feel free, to use ChatGPT this way. And I think it will really add that extra step of engagement from the students. It's one thing to read about it in a book, but again, if you think about it as like a digital seance, that is a really cool way to get students involved in history. All right, y'all. So for this demonstration here, this is going to cover science, right? So that's what I mostly do, and this has been very valuable in helping me find things to do in my classroom. And so here I have it on for the latest version, the paid version. The other examples were the free version. I just wanted to try this one out and see if it would, how different it is. And so again, this is for science, and I ask it. My high school students are learning about the states of matter. Can you come up with a lab for us to do in class? Ask any necessary clarifying questions. And so this is always really cool. You can ask ChatGPT to ask you questions if you want to get more specific about your assignments or whatever it is that they're asking you. And so, to create an effective lab for high school students, have a few clarifying questions. So, what grade level are they? How much time do you have for the lab? What materials and equipment do you have available in your classroom? All of these different things it can ask you, and that's going to help you, right, to make a better and more tailored lab for your students. All right, y'all. So I answered the questions. The students are high school students. The class is 80 minutes long. We have standard high school lab equipment. I want to focus on melting, freezing, condensation, and sublimation, and there are no safety restrictions. All right, and so after that, just hit the enter arrow, and here we go. It's giving you a lab, telling you what the objective is. And here you can see it's just kind of popping out all of the different stations you're going to be working on. It's going to give you some questions and it gives you some safety notes, right? And yeah, definitely make sure you do not handle dry ice with your bare hands. That does not work out well. And so here you can see it's giving you the very bare bones, right? Students will observe and analyze and process materials. So for all of these sections, you want to go in and ask for a little bit more information. Like, can you make the objective a little more detailed? And it will make the objective more detailed, right? The material, how much of each of these things do you need? That's one of the big things about labs is like, well, how much of this do I need? Sometimes you have to go in there and input these things yourself, and a lot of times you can just ask ChatGPT to be more specific with these things. And then if you get to the bottom and you realize, all right, there's a few questions here, but I want a few more, just ask it to create a few more questions, right? Maybe some open ended, multiple choice, whatever it is that you want to use, just ask it for those kinds of questions. And again, you'll have to modify some things. And right here it says this lab allows students to observe and engage with different states changes, helping them to understand the concepts in hands-on manner. So this is how you can use it for science, right? Aside from labs, you can ask it to do activities and things like that. And so, yeah, this is how a good way to that I use ChatGPT for my science classes. All right, y'all. Now, so this can actually be applied to any subject that requires reading comprehension, which should be every class, right? A lot of times students don't have the best reading skills, so this is ideal for any class where you want some reading comprehension. And so what I did here is a lot of times you're in a hurry, you got to get something ready for a class and you need to do it fast. So, what I like to do sometimes, even if I'm not in a hurry, an article like in critical thinking, something I like to stress in a lot of my classes. And so, what I did is I found an article that I really liked on critical thinking, and then I copied it and I came here to ChatGPT and I asked it, can you create, whoops, let me see right here. Can you read the following article and create 7 multiple choice questions with an answer key? Can you also create 3 open ended questions with an answer key? And so I try to be as specific as I can for these, but this is all the prompt it needs. And so then once you ask it to do that for you and you find the article that you like, you just go ahead, and these sometimes take a little bit longer because you are asking ChatGPT to read through an article and then to create 10 questions for you. Some of those are multiple choice, some of those are open ended, but this what would take uh, you know several minutes or even like hours to create an assignment. Now you can do this in seconds and with an answer key. You always want to go through and double check to make sure that the answers are, that it's well written and the questions have a clear answer. And it's gotten a lot better. I remember when I first started doing this, sometimes it was hit or miss, but it's actually gotten a lot better. And again, this is the omni version, so this is the most updated paid for version, but I used to do this with the free version all the time. And so here you have the article. It read it, it gave you some questions. Here you see you have 7 multiple choice, 3 open ended, and they all have their answer keys. Right, so this is very helpful for writing lesson plans, creating specific lessons for a specific class, but just in general, if you need reading comprehension, this is a good way to do it. And what I normally do, if you see the question prompt up here that I ask, can you read this article and create 7 multiple choice questions? I usually am a little bit more specific. Can you create 7 multiple choice questions to see if students understand the main ideas of this article? Right, and so that gives you a little bit more, it's a little bit more specific, and usually that's what I do. This time was just a little bit general, just so you could see how quickly ChatGPT can create reading comprehension assignments for you. And just really quick, again, here are the 7 multiple choice with answer keys. You see all the answers are there at the bottom, and then the open-ended questions, and you see some answers at the bottom. All right, y'all. And so I don't have a lot of experience with this with math, but if you wanted to use it for math, you could also do that. So something I do kind of remember from back in the day and from when I've substituted is slope intercept form. Right. So as we're learning about the slope intercept form, can you create 5 questions to assess students' comprehension and provide an answer key? So sometimes it takes a little bit, and I wouldn't be able to double check this because I don't remember a whole lot of this, but just double check to make sure that um, the answers are correct. And here you can see it's providing that answer key that we asked for. And I hear that it wasn't too great at the beginning when it came to math, but that it's gotten a lot better. And I know Khan's Academy also has a lot of AI features, but ChatGPT, again, this is the Omni version, the latest paid for version, but I imagine that it does just as well with the free version. And let me go to the free version. Let me just double check that and see. Yeah, see, not a whole lot of there. It still gave me the questions, gave me the answer keys, and so even with the free version, it looks like it's able to do this. So again, just it makes your life easier for math and all the other subjects. So this is how I would use it if I were a math teacher.